Okay, so this is how the project, we're going to talk about Mod 2, which is your first page of the project. There are actually 5 pages, I believe. So there's in the actual document. Let me see if I can find it here. Mod 3, 27 rows, Mod 2, 64 rows, Mod 3, 81 rows, and Mod 4, 64 rows. So there are 5 pages you could do. For my class, I'm going to give you 30 points out of 30-point perfect quiz for each one you correctly do right. But I will be a stickler. Everything has to be perfect. If you turn it in before the due date, I will give you a chance to correct it if you do have any mistakes. So I highly recommend that. Let's talk about mod, what that term means first before we get into the coloring portion of this project. So mod 2 is, think about that as the remainder. So if you have done, if you remember having a remainder, we did a little bit of long division. So we did a little bit of remainder work. So say you have something like 3 divided by 2. So if you go old school and do that, let's see, 3 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. You're going to subtract the 2, and 1 is your remainder, right? If you do something like 8 divided by 2, that would be 8 divided by 2. And let's see, that goes in there 4 times. So that would be 8, subtract 8. My remainder is actually 0. Okay, that's interesting. Let's do 9. So 9 divided by 2, so that would be 9 divided by 2. Goes in there 4 times. Remainder is 1. If I do 10 divided by 2, 10 divided by 2 goes in there 5 times. The remainder is 0. I don't know if you notice this, but it seems to be, no matter what I plug in, the remainders are either 0 or 1, which is true. When you're talking in Mod 2 world, there are only 2 possible outcomes, 0s and 1s. Okay, we've got that established. So let's go back to this. And let's start with numbers in there, and then we'll transition to colors. So I'm just going to start with a normal Pascal's triangle, 1, 1, 1. I'm going to write that real lightly with pencils, what I would do if I were you. Of course, you know this one's 1, this one's 1, this is 1, this is 1. The outsides are all 1. Now, you might be tempted to put a 2 right there in between those two, because you add up those, that plus that is 2. But let's think about the remainder when 2. So if you do 2 divided by 2, you actually have a remainder of 0. Do you agree with that? Just like 8 divided by 2 is a remainder of 0, right? So 1 plus 1 is 2, but 2 has a remainder of 0. So I put the remainder here. 1 divided by 2 has a remainder of 1, right? It doesn't go in there at all, and so the remainder is just 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 divided by 2 is a remainder of 1. That's 1. 1 plus 1 is not 2. 2 has a remainder of 0. Sometimes it helps to have a key off here to the side, so 1 plus 1 is 0. That's weird, isn't it? We just learned that 0 plus 1, or 1 plus 0, either order, is 1. And we've got at least one more case to think about here. So this is 0 again, 0, 1. These are all 1s there. This is 1, this is 1. 0 plus 0, let's think about that. 0 divided by 2 has a remainder of 0. Okay, so 0 plus 0, well, that's 0. That actually makes sense. That first one is kind of funny. 0 plus 0 is 0, has a remainder of 0. And so you keep going through. I'm not going to do the rest of the page for you. Once you've established your rule, let's put some colors to this. So we call 1s are yellow. And I'm going to make the 0s green. And you can choose your own color. You just need 2 colors for a mod 2. So you need 2 colors. At this point, I'm probably just going to erase my numbers. I don't need my numbers anymore. I have my rules for each thing. So I'm just going to start with 1s, right? I mean, you always start with 1s. I'm going to try to do this as best I can here. You're going to try to, be very careful about your coloring. I'm going to be a stickler about this. Again, the outsides are all yellow here. The insides, let's see this one, yellow, if you look at yellow plus yellow, yellow plus yellow is green. So this one has to be green. But yellow plus green is, oh, I got to go back to yellow, is yellow. So this one is yellow and yellow. Sides are always yellow here in this case, since those represent ones. But yellow plus yellow is actually green, right? So this one's going to be green. Yellow plus yellow is green, yellow plus yellow is green. And you'll keep on going. I'm not going to keep going. But you can see that you'll see some neat pattern forming, triangles, different stuff that you'll see form when you follow that pattern. So each time the two circles above it determine what's below it. So if you do mod 3, well, in a similar way, there's only a limited number of remainders you can have with mod 3, right? So if you have something like, 3 divided by 3, that has a remainder of, remainder is 0. 4 divided by 3 would be a remainder of 1, like 3 with 1/3 left over, 1 left over there. 5/3 would be a remainder of 2. 6/3 would be a remainder of, where I think we're repeating, that's 0 again. So really there's only 3 different possible outcomes, 0, 1, or 2. So you need 3 colors for mod 3, so that makes sense. So let's start with numbers again, and we'll see if we can get all the number rules, and then we can maybe erase and actually just do the coloring part, which is the fun part, right? So in mod 3, 1 plus 1 is 2, because 2 is a possible remainder, right? That's no problem. We can do remainder 2. So 1, 1. Ooh, but what about 3? 1 plus 2 is 3, but the remainder when 3 is there is actually 0. So 1 plus 2 is 0. So that's one of our number rules. Let's write that down. It's always funny when you do this. 1 plus 2 equals 0. 1 plus 1 is 2. We just established that. 1 plus 1 is 2. And let's see what else we have. Well, 1 plus 0 is 1, because that's one of our remainders. I'm okay with that. So 1 plus 0, or 0 plus 1 is 1. I feel like we're not quite there yet. So I think we need 3 is really 0. Okay, 0 plus 0, we need 0 plus 0 in there. So 0 plus 0 is 0. That's one of our possible remainders. That's 1. That's 1. Obviously, that's 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 0 is 1. I'm waiting for kind of another rule to come up, and we're not quite there yet. 1. 3 is really 0. 3 is really 0. This is 2. 0, 0, 1. Wow, I'm doing a lot of this. I did not expect to do this much. Okay, 2. There's one more rule. Just be aware of it. What do you think 2? I think you're going to have to find that on your own. I think 2 plus 2 equals what? Think about the remainder there, right? And so once you have all of your rules written, once you write all those, you figure out that last one. Then you just use colors. You just assign colors, kind of a thing. So you decide, like if I decided maybe green is 1 this time, and then maybe yellow are the 0s, and then maybe blue are the 2s or something. You can use colored pencils, markers, etc. You got to do this perfectly, no mistakes. Again, I will let you fix it if you turn it in before, so it's going to be due next Thursday, I believe. So you got to turn it in before then, kind of a thing. So there you go. That is your thing. So again, every perfect sheet gets a 30 out of 30 quiz grade for me in my class.